Hello, beautiful. So nice to be here. And something just crossed my mind. I just finished this amazing workshop online, obviously, that I've taken, and it just blew my mind because this is something that I facilitate so often. And I usually facilitate it for myself, or I facilitate it for clients on one-on-one. Um, so it was a womb healing workshop that I've done, and it was incredible. And I realized that there was so much fear inside me around creating programs, creating containers, creating spaces where the women in my surroundings, the people who are in my field could come in. And if there is a moment in time when we really need powerful spaces for healing, it is now. If it's been on your heart, if it's been on your mind to create something that is going to offer a supportive new dynamic for your audience, it is now. Like, I feel like I really need to speak up on this, because as much as there's this old belief system, and it was actually coming up at the table with some close friends of mine and some family related members, and what was being said was this scenario that people are somehow taking advantage of this like crisis scenario, and that they're trying to make money, and they're trying to, rob people off of their investments. And it really hurt my heart to hear that, because I honestly feel like we will go seek those keys that we need in the right moment. And people are sovereign beings, and they can decide what it is that they really need and they want in the moment. And so there's no such thing as, like one being a bad person to be offering something that is actually going to be transforming people's lives, and that's going to support them in a way that feels really elevating and uplifting. And so even though I was feeling that friction with that belief system, somewhat it was still lingering inside me, where I would say, well, it's not the moment to create a program now. It's not the moment to bring things out. People are navigating through survival, like they don't know what they're going to be investing in, et cetera, et cetera. And what I've realized is I actually have been investing so much in myself during this time, exactly because now is the moment. I have the time to, go seek those online courses. I have the time to go read that book. I have all this time to go within. And so very often what I feel is when we're leaders and we're really stepping into that priestess archetype and that alchemical archetype, right? We like, especially the women who are in my field, I really feel they are leaders. They are leaders. They're on the forefront. They're the goddesses, inspiring other women to step into their goddess energy. And honestly, ladies, like this is so profound. Like we've gotta step up and beyond that belief system that we somewhat need to hold back a light in terms of crisis, in terms of things being in upheaval out in the world. Like, if there is a moment in time when people need containers and powerful space holders, it definitely is now. And another thing that is coming up for me here that is so crucial, that I feel is really important, is that often, we believe that, and I'm really talking about myself, like I used to have this very intrinsic thing inside me that would say, if I don't have this figured out, then I'm somewhat not worthy of teaching this, right? Like if I don't have that together yet, then I'm I'm no way, I shouldn't be teaching this. And so, yes, of course, having mastery in a subject, in a topic, is definitely going to be providing like confidence and grounding. But the truth is, like, those clients that I've loved working with the most really were women who were on the same level as me. It's just that I was maybe a couple of steps ahead in that specific ground that they were seeking. But at the core of the core, they had very similar dreams to mine. They had very similar um, values. They had very similar ideals. And, even to the point where I felt like those clients that I loved working with the most always had somewhat a connection with their body, a connection with something that is, not tangible with words and with descriptions, etc. And so it's amazing, right? Because if I had not showed up, stepped up to the game of that platform, of that higher level, and I would have said, well, I actually don't know this exact scenario yet. It's like those women would have never been able to really step up, right? Because I really feel like the minute we let go of those beliefs and those fears and that scenario that we set up in our mind that's somewhat coming and stemming out of perfectionism, we're never going to go out there and be who we need to be, right? Like the vibration of creation vibrates at the level of things being done, right? And so when we are waiting for something to be done and we're holding back our gift, it's like we become a mismatch for the things that we're really capable of bringing out into the world. And the truth is, very often, I was teaching things in my past courses where I definitely didn't have the final image, but I still put myself out there, right? I would always like go and jump over that belief that I somewhat had to have it all together before it would come about and before I was able to really teach it. And what happened is it actually catapulted me on that level. I used to, be teaching around how to, make money, on how to liberate myself sensually and sexually, how to find emotional healing, how to connect, in a deeper level with my own body, with my womb, with my breasts, with my heart, with my voice. And so as I was teaching, it's like the gifts came to me. And the truth is that we're very often not the ones holding the light. We're just the facilitators and the channelers for that light, meaning that wisdom, that understanding, that dynamic, that paradigm, that concept, that um yeah, just that structure. It's just coming through us, and we're just being utilized by spirit, by the divine, as a facilitator, right? We are not the ones holding the key, and like, if I don't hold it and if I haven't polished it, then I can't pass it on. No, we are just passing on something that's not even ours anyway. And even if we're artists, especially if we're artists, I truly feel like we don't hold the art. The art is not our egotistical or ego spatial possession. It's actually coming through us, right? Like when dance is moving through me, it's not me saying, oh, this is me who created it. Like if there was somewhat an egotistical attachment like that in the past, it would very often just either drive me into a dead end, like creatively speaking, or I would get stuck. Like I would somewhat feel blocked for like weeks, right? Because I would attach my identification with that thing that I've created. And the more I learned how to let go of that attachment, and I could just open up to the fact that whatever's going to come through, that's the perfect thing that needs to come through, and that's going to be the perfect way it's going to come through. That's when people loved my creations. And so I feel like that's the ultimate resonance for me, is to really step into the game as what is wanting to come through me now, How is it wanting to come through? Is it going to be something that I'm going to be offering for free? Is it something that I'm going to be offering for a price? Like, all of those things, those are details, but what's the main gist is if there's something wanting to come through in a natural, organic way, then you're very well meant to be teaching that. And so let this be your sign today that if something's been coming through, for you to be offering a package, for you to be offering a class, for you to be offering a workshop, for you to be, even if it's just to create a video making music or singing, that is your offering. So allow it to just flow through you, and then allow the universe to find its own ways to show you the details of how you're going to be packaging it up, of how you're going to be offering it, of how you're going to be communicating around this. But honestly, like, this really came through so deep for me today, is that I'm definitely meant to be opening up more workshop space. I'm definitely meant to be opening up more containers, more group programs, and they will most likely be birthing in the next couple of weeks because I have time. And if I'm having time, like, this is the moment of creation. Like, we're all going into that deep unknown together as a society. And what's amazing about this exact space is that we're all going into that, like, us all going into that is a very deeply feminine, energetic space, meaning we're becoming incredibly receptive. We're being asked to stop. We're being asked to slow down. We're being asked to listen to our inner intuition. It's like we're having all these distractions that we normally have or had up until now in our daily lives. We're just having them all stripped off us, right? Like, all the shopping maybe that we used to do, all the running down to work that we used to do, all the different friends that we used to meet. Not to say that they were bad distractions, but they were definitely distractions, right? And we're all coming back to this essential place where there's no more other room for more things. So, once you've cleansed out all the house, and once you've cooked up all the meals, once you've done all the things that you've always wanted to do because they were, on stagnant mode, because you were waiting for them to, because you were waiting for time, right? To have enough time to do these things. You've probably run through all that list. So what now? And so I invite you to go into meditation space. I invite you to go into movement space. I invite you to just let yourself be without needing to do anything, and then wait some more, and wait some more. And it's like, I already know this will happen. Like, sooner or later, that bolt of lightning is going to strike you. Sooner or later, that idea is going to come through, and it's going to send shivers down your spine. Like, there's going to be a sign, there's going to be an opening space, right? Because the feminine energy will take you down into the darkness, because in that darkness, that's the only space where you actually get to feel what is really there. And from there, she creates, right? Like, from there, she creates with desire. So when you're in the dark space, especially if you're going through a lot of anxiety and emotional turmoil, I invite you to go into a space where you can feel all those things, and to reach out to somebody who can hold space for you without taking your pain away, like without attempting to somewhat diminish whatever you're feeling or to shut down whatever you're feeling. Like, someone who's really skilled at holding space for you, where everything is welcome in the space, right? Because once you've released all of that, you can finally go into that deep, dark, like the darkest place, it's like we're so afraid to go there, but actually once we are there, there's no other way but to move back into the light. And so sometimes the acceptance of what is in the moment is the only way for you to really feel that, right? So once you've felt that, being in the dark and trusting that being in the dark is exactly where you need to be, that you don't need to run away from this, right? Like, this is where you're going to be creating your gift, Okay. And so some of the things that have been coming through for me were, um, I used to still have that old programming in me that I need to be a life coach somehow, that I need to coach women about, sensuality only. Like, it's like in my mind, I started to create this box about what it means for me to, yeah, show up in the world as a coach, as a feminine, leader and mentor. And the truth is, yes, all the while, that's probably resonant for me. I also had to come into that deep, dark space of, well, what if I